so very thankful for you all being here and being in attendance for the grand finale of my podcast, Youthful Conversations Season 1. For Season 1, we had 15 amazing episodes with a variety of different people from different walks of life, with different opinions, different goals, different dreams, different passions, coming onto the show, sharing their dreams, goals, passions, and opinions on a variety of different topics. And for our Season 1, we have amassed over 40,000 views for our very first season with 15 episodes. Yes, so today we are here to celebrate the ending of Season 1. We're going to have an amazing panel for our last episode. We're going to have a panel of 5 adults and 5 young people come up and they're going to share, and we're going to have an amazing conversation. So today is a 3-part event. The first part was, of course, the part from 11 to 12, for the community showcase. We're showcasing different parts of the community, different organizations, and different people who are just making it happen. So if you look beside you, there's probably somebody in this room who is doing something for our community and someone who is making it happen. So if you all can give them a round of applause for being here. All right, so before we get started, I'm a heavy faith believer, so I don't know what y'all believe in, so I'm going to get a prayer. We're going to get a prayer started before we start the event. So I'm going to have Malik come up and pray, and then also give us the pledge of allegiance before we start the event, and then we're going to go right into our 2 performances for the event.
You might have to drop this down and then tilt it up so we can get y'all, because I don't want to die.
Heavenly Father, right now, we just thank you for everything, thank you for all your moments and all the everything that you have done, God. We just want you to believe and just kill everybody out there today, God. And I just want to thank everybody that came out and supported us in this big thing. And I just want to thank all of the fans, all of our love, just playing, protecting everybody. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Everybody can stand. I'm going to take allegiance.
States of America.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty for all. Thank y'all.
All right, so now, before we start with the podcast discussion,
I got to get it on another page because we ain't.
So, firstly, we have a song selection.
Let me just Yeah, it don't. But it don't go live on Shields for some because it's age, I think. So, see what they say. I'm gonna put. Okay, so now on his. Okay, that's hard to remember.
But remember, time
we give her one more big round of applause?
Alright, so up next, we're going to have an organization called Creations coming to perform. So everyone's going to give them a round of applause. Oh, yeah. Please forgive me. I don't know what's going on.
You know, for the baby. No, the love, the baby.
Good job. Good job.
All right, everybody, we'll give that one more. Alright, so now we're gonna go into our podcast part of this event, but before we go into that, would you like to see it back here? I think I. Let's see. I know that, but I'm not that flexible. But we gonna go right into this podcast. Okay, go.
Oh.
All right, everyone. So before we go into the podcast, we're going to go through our party. So I hope all of you have gotten your raffle ticket. And now we'll go. Oh, you need a raffle ticket? Hold on. When we get two more raffle tickets, after I get a raffle ticket, just raise your hand. We'll just everybody can to the end. If you have not gotten a raffle ticket, raise your hand. If you haven't gotten this, raise your hand. All right, so first, we're going to raffle off one of my favorite t-shirt.
Oh, that's doing way too much. No, they gotta be in the room. They gotta be in the room.
All right,
go. Okay. All right. The last three numbers are 9, 6, 5. What guy is there?
You just want me to beat you my three?
9, 4, 5. What got going?
You see?
All right, I got 0, 0, 2.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. This man that asked you is the parent. And look, who is the parent?
We got a winner.
Can I get a applause for
That
that?
right there. All right, we're gonna wrap off one more problem before we start the conversation, and then at the end of the conversation, we're gonna wrap off. So, anybody got dogs? Anybody got pets? Okay, we're gonna wrap them off. The dog, really bad. All right, the number is 997. That's you?
Why am I going hard? Look, y'all didn't say that I was. Hey, time out. I didn't know that the fine print said you got to dog.
What's going to dog?
All right, give him a round of applause. He didn't say so. Our next ticket is
What'd you say?
9, 8,
It's a clothing brand.
9, 8,
Clothing
4.
brand.
Okay, got 9, 8, 4.
That's that new one. You gonna be flying there.
Okay. 996.
That's me.
I'm gonna just put it out. I don't think I'm gonna put it out. Let's get up, dog. Yeah, give him a round of applause. All right. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the highlight of the event, the live podcast. So everybody give a round of applause. You introduce our panelists. And we'll start with the conversation. So up first, I want to introduce the two-whole team.
This is good.
I'll give you all the introduce that. Then I want to introduce Ms. Ivy D. Miss Letitia. Then I want to introduce Mr. William Hussey. Lastly, but not least, I want to introduce Mr. Michael Gray. All right, for the young people, a lot of my guests haven't really showed up, so we're gonna go around and I'm gonna have some other young people show. So Mr. Nate, I come with you on first. And I want to introduce Ms. Adriana. Let me introduce AB. And can I introduce Cassidy? And lastly but not least, Miguel Mike. We're gonna go right into our first question. So a lot of you know that voting is right around the corner. Voting ends November 5th. So if you haven't voted yet, we're gonna talk about the question that you have to make, so that you know how to vote, why to vote, and why not. So our first question. Why do you think young people should prioritize voting after this first?
You go.
Yeah, so most definitely, I just feel like, sports can be for our people. And a lot of things that they have interest on that will motivate them. What I mean by that is they go back. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things go on that impact the youth for them. So, I think it's important for people that are going to that's my thing. when you're nurtured by your surroundings, it can be it's a lot easier to attach yourself to it. And in the same way, I remember analogy or quotes that having a voice in the path is going to be I don't know how many long relationships you feel, but I know for me, the only time I was able to attract a healthy relationship that I turned into, I think I had myself. And I was operating on my best self. I knew what I wanted. I knew what company. And we have to give children for the kids, for structure to operate on their best self. That, them being able to go with the natural byproduct of one kind of approach.
Hello, everyone. I'm Robinson. I believe that voting is the most powerful issue. All the people don't understand it's not it's their responsibility. And perhaps they take more accountability for learning at this school, but they're going to apply to other schools. So we're going to engage in an active work. And that's what power is. That's the main factor. We really use our voice and that action to speak up what's passionate to us. So I just advise that we continue to educate and be patient with those who don't see it, but it just takes time and we really should in the process. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. As a young person, my words that says something because I'm just now realizing that, okay, I have this choice. This is my job. This is what I have to do to be able to have control over my future. I'm looking for what I have to do to be able to say, okay, this is where I want my kids. I realize now that like I'm here on my friends and I really because you can make a change if you act on the responsibility to
Hi, everyone. AB or AB. Um, Everybody in this panel said something. Be a good voice. But one thing I like to think about is most people when it's 52, 18 voice. I didn't really understand what it was what it's like to get in the city to when I talk to other young people about voting, it's important to be involved. I say, look at your community information. My brother talked about being connected to the county, being connected to the community. Look at what you're going through as you go tax. Look at what you're going through or what your friends are going through. Start thinking about, okay, is this right or is this wrong? Is this something that you agree with or is this something that you disagree with? And I feel like that is a way in into looking at the bigger picture, the broader picture.
Good afternoon. I'm Miguel Jr. and I'm a young person as well. This is my second time voting. And it really is we need to use our voice. That's the biggest thing, right? But like how everyone said, like we need to be educated. And I think that's where this disconnect is the lack of education. Like, who am I supposed to be voting for? Like, how does this affect me in the long run? Right? But the biggest thing to connect with young people, I would say, find something that they care about, right? So if I want to be invoking change in my community, what are some what are things in the community that affect me that I see that oh like this is intriguing, right? So connecting them with those individuals who are directly influencing what they care about is going to be the biggest thing in invoking this new change, right? So that's what I have to say. Finding something that they care about and then using that to connect with the voting and how people issue.
I think they answer that question very early. There's a lot of action for all.
Thank you for that. Someone said earlier, Jeremiah, when we talked about why it's important, this is the only thing that we all share equitable parts of. There's nothing that separates us when we go to vote. You get a vote, you get a vote as long as we are up there. Doesn't matter if you're male, female. This is the only thing that equalizes us that we all get a fair chance at if we are of age to vote. One of the other things that I know is that being around this community, I heard not only find something that they're interested in, but show up where they're at. Go find these young people that's out here that want to make a difference and come to them. Show them. So I'm sorry, I just really wanted to put them 2 cents back in there after I had passed my time.
Can I add 2 more cents? 2 more cents. So I love the conversation about the connection to the land and the connection to the community and your comments about showing up. That is most of our problem. Too many of us are counting on somebody else to solve the problem. We sit back and we allow them to do the hard work. And then when it's over with, we come in and we chant and we cheer. Yeah, we did it. We can do it all. I will tell you, in the last city council election, of the registered voters in Greensboro who could vote, somebody give me a guess what percent of the voters voted. I heard 12. I heard 20. It was 15%. So 85% of the people show up. 85% of the people gave up their power to the 15% of people. But I'll tell you that 100% of the people, when something goes wrong or they think it goes wrong, 100% show up at city council and complain. But only 15% participate. You got to find that connection. You got to find that purpose, and your voice, as was spoken earlier, your voice is your vote, and your vote is your power. Use your power.
All right, so we're gonna have Mr. Dr. Black go around in the audience, but you know, questions throughout the whole podcast, say your name, Dr. Black, you come your way, so you can ask those questions, or we'll have that going on. We're gonna write our second question. Why is mental health so important to
Mental health is important. We all deal with a lot, but I think with the youth, there's a lot of different things going on. Even since COVID, things are just going on in the community. So we deal with a lot, we hold in a lot, and we self-sabotage ourselves a lot. And a lot of times we don't feel comfortable talking to certain people. So it's always important to find that person or that group of people that you can talk to get it off your chest. Because mental health is important. You got to talk to somebody. And I think social media influences that in a negative sense because you might try to compare yourself to what you're seeing on social media. A lot of youth do that. Even my kids do that. Or they feel like they're not in a good place because it doesn't look like what they see on social media. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a lot of times you got to find people to talk to and you got to stay encouraged and keep your self-esteem high and believe in yourself no matter what your circumstance is, no matter what you're dealing with, and just know, you know, things will change if you change. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change as well. So a lot of times we are built or brought up in these circumstances that 9 out of 10 is not good. So we're influenced by negative things. And the things we go through influence our mentality. You know what I'm saying? I know for me it was like that. You know what I'm saying? So I encourage the youth, I encourage grown people to go out and seek counseling because mental health is very important.
I think mental health is important because it is a part of human evolution, and without just putting yourself first, then you wouldn't really get to where you want to get to in the future. And I kind of have this perception in my head is where if you came out the womb by yourself, then that's the only person you need in the end. And I just feel like putting yourself out there and just learning yourself for anything can get you where you want to be in the future.
Well, real talk here. I'm gonna talk to the adults first. I know the questions about the youth. I'm talking to the adults first. And we all know that we are the role models in our household. And what we do, our children tend to emulate. So real talk. If you break your leg, where you go? If you have a toothache, where you go? If you got something wrong with your eyes, where you go? So why is it when we know that there's some mental illness going on, that we just don't make that natural step and get some therapy? There's a stigma in our community that we need to break. Is that if you're in all reality, if you're not being mental health, I'm worried about it. If you don't have a therapist, I'm worried about it. There's enough going on in this world that we all have challenges. We all have challenges. And we should all have a therapist, because we have a dentist, and we have a doctor, and we have an ophthalmologist. We need to make sure that we break this stigma and just recognize that if you need help, you need help. Get the help.
You said you was going to address the parents first, and then did you have something to say, Hugh? I think
that was for the parents. The parent part was regarding them being the mentor. So when your child sees you going to your therapist, when they have an opportunity to seek some help, they're not just going to sit at home and say, well, I hope no one's going to talk about this, so I'm going to go. I'm going to my therapist. Mom, Dad, who do you need?
I really love that role model because when you look at the kids, when you are raising up a child, you are the very first role model for that kid. You are the very first thing they know, little things they do. Before they even know God exists, they're like, this is a God, this is a love, this is a all. So as a parent, kids start to follow these traits and start to think. And a lot of parents say, do what I say and not what I do. That is so, it's a powerful quote to say, but kids go by what they do, what they feel. You can say, do what I say and not what I do, but if you're doing the wrong thing, you can't do it. I mean, they kids will pick up the wrong behavior. So as parents, if you're going to be a role model, you should emulate the right behavior as well. And you can help you. You go through a mental health problem, as a parent, you sit back and let that mental health problem go inside, self-sabotage the whole time. You can do it. You can sit there and go there. You can sit there and do it. So I think all of us have to do a better job. That's everybody.
Amen. I'm talking, saying amen. Preach, Jeremiah. That's it. I know that's right. She said you can make your contributions to Youthful Conversations. Her mom. You are absolutely right with all of that, because these are the humans that we want to validate us the most. And I think that we just lifted up a whole lot about mindfulness, right? And if we're talking about mental health and mindfulness, it's the best thing. And when you are communicating to someone, mindfulness about what you say, how you handle them, because especially in that vulnerable stage, they're not as intact to stay in control of their joystick like the rest of us. Okay? So it's very, very important that mental health and mental wellness, because as I heard my brother over here said, I found myself being my best self when I was in my best health, my best mindset, right? And I don't allow that. Yeah. That it does fall on us. However, when it's my mother or my parent that I need to validate me the most, I can't give this to them, right? I got to hear and see that these things are going to work out to make me my best self so I can represent myself, right? Mental health is something that is so vulnerable now because of the exposure, right? I know back when I had my Tandy 1000 and my Encyclopedia Britannica, it didn't go that far as Facebook, as far as Instagram and all of those things. So the exposure that's out here now right? We're talking about the generational gap, is the reason why there are so many more mental health situations than what we knew when we were growing up, right? This world is evolving, so it's bigger than just us. So we have to meet people where they are and figure out how can I support you so you can show up as your best self because we need you. Not only we, you need you. So I think that you would have a great point about your therapist. Um, but what I always say is, does my therapist have a therapist? Because if my therapist ain't got no therapist, I'm not going to that therapist. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But I do think that, we have gotten to the point where mental health is not something that's new. But the awareness of it is something where now we have more opportunity and exposure to things that are going on. As Ivy stated, the internet, social media gives us opportunity for exposure and awareness. But what it does is it makes us think really smart because now we have opportunity to see what's going on in other parts of the country, the world, etc. And that plays a part in mental health. So I think that, to the point of mental health, it's about awareness, but also what the internet does is it gives us an opportunity. Oftentimes we talk about social media and internet from a negative standpoint, but the internet also gives us an opportunity to be exposed to something different. Not in a negative way all the time, sometimes in a positive way. So it gives us a chance to say, let me check in on my mental health. Don't wait till something's wrong to seek mental health. It's preventative. Just like I got a doctor for my preventative care, I got a therapist for my preventative care too, because y'all, I'm going to tell you, um, I need that. And I'm okay with saying that because I want to show up as my best self. Because y'all don't want to see Letitia show up as her unbest self, because that wouldn't look good for me nor for the community that I serve.
So mental health is extremely important. The root of the word health is healing. Just let that sink in for a second. Healing is a never-ending journey, and it should be a natural part of life. And you said us as adults have to be the main advocates to make this feel normal for our kids. I work as a high school success coach and director of mental wellness for an academy. And the thing I hear from a lot of my high schoolers, middle schoolers who are dealing with a lot of issues as far as managing their emotions, managing their moods, managing their self-image is the conversation that is going on inside of their head. And I'm going to use a short four-letter word. It's not going to be the worst of them. But when I talk to a lot of kids, I say, what's the voice that's speaking to you when you're acting out? I have 4 or 5 kids in the past week say, I'm bad as hell. That's the voice that's speaking to me. I asked them, I said, you heard that growing up? Yes, Mr. Bro. You believe that? Yeah, sometimes I do. I said, what's the conversation that you have after you done the deed or you crashed out or you had your moment? I don't really have another conversation. I just sleep it off. I go to social media. And you know what? Energy, energy does not die. It just transfers. So I just had the worst time of my life at school. Just almost fought somebody because mom yelled at me before I left and told me I'm a piece of ass just like my daddy was. And now I walk into the school building where I'm not even clinging to the lesson. I'm not fully submitted to the fact that I'm really here to be better. Just got this energy in me. And chances are you're going to flock to people that make you feel comfortable and seen. And from what I've seen, there are a lot of people who are doing the right things, pushing their children in the right directions. But The voices of those who are in pain are often a whole lot louder than those who are comfortable. So, with that understanding, it's you have to bring justice to your struggles in a very loud way. And that means you have to really live and prioritize your healing. This is an everyday, non-stop thing. You know what it's like to stay in alignment with your higher self. It means when you're in traffic and you want to cut somebody up, and you got little mama, little man sitting in the back seat, you gotta know. You gotta know that they're seeing it, and that energy is permeating in that car. By the time my children make it into the public school system, they're gonna know that mama and daddy solve their problems by talking to each other. All this yelling that everybody is doing at each other doesn't feel normal to me. I don't like it. It'll be so natural to them that, I mean, and that's not even to absolve. My parents went through everything just like anybody else would. They divorced after 20 something years of marriage, but I was able to understand that you don't prioritize healing, you go in opposite directions, things can happen. And I value my own healing enough not to hold so much judgment for other people. So understand that in order for them to get it, we have to be the ultimate example of how does healing look in general? Does your kid see you reading a book? Does your kid see you getting up to go on that run? I mean, I'm not even in a place where I'm trying to, what I want to do is put my best example out there. And the example that brings chills to me is I grew up very, in the South, in a very, VA life. So that made it very hard for me to maintain my own physical health. And I realized when my physical health was deteriorating, I just did not feel good about myself. And when I learned my son was on the way, I have two boys, one 3, and there's going to be 2 in a few days. And when they're on the way, I told myself that, in a lot of ways, when we're trying to heal, it's hard to cling to it because we can't see it. Sometimes you're making decisions and you miss the mark here and there. But I know something simple as running, for me, just jogging was something that I can see myself getting better. My son is on the way. I gotta stay consistent. He has to stay consistent. So now I started taking my lady with me. I started taking we did have our kids, we took our kids with. Now my 3-year-old is so excited to just get up, go run, to go read, and to do all these very small things that keep you from piling your mind inside of your phone, inside that social media device, to the point to now people want to know, hey, how did you get your son to do that? Well, I was the example. And so giving them something to look up to inspire to be, naturally, social media will weigh on them because it's a big old world and we spend so much time trying to protect them. But if you put the healthy systems and routines in place early, when it comes time for them to play that mental and that internal tug of war, I believe it pushes them to pick the better rather than the worse. So I know I said a whole lot, but I spoke from the heart, so I'm happy with that.
Beautiful. Okay. Okay, shout out to Jesus. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. Okay. Yeah. And all the time, God is good and God is good. What? Yeah. Okay, simple. So that's how I keep my mental health together. Because right now I am a second year PhD student. It's definitely got real, but I know that my Father, my Heavenly Father, will give me the strength I need in this journey. He will sustain me for these blessings that He got me in this. But I really just want to say, playing into what Jeremiah said earlier with mentors, we got to show up for ourselves. That is so important. I learned to really just take more time for myself, whatever I need to go into that room prepared. Let me just make sure I do it for me first, so I can be the best version I need to be and pour some stuff in the process. Because if you're not showing up for yourself, how can you show somebody else? You're not carrying that same relationship with passed on to the next person, transferring that energy, as you would say. So show up for you first so you can help someone else. All right.
I just want to say, I know a lot of people are saying right here now that nothing's wrong with you, but if you're not okay, it's okay to say you're not okay. Recognize it and go find someone to help you with it, because not everything that you can do is enough. You do need yourself, so put yourself first. But you can't do it all on your own. You can find your village. You can find people to help you, but you can't do it all yourself. And that's okay to recognize. Um, I learned that sometimes it's okay to find the shoulder from because I'm an only child. I don't have any siblings. I never had a shoulder. So I was like, okay, let me find this pillow, let me find this number, let me find myself emergency books already. You know, I'm good. I was not good. For a good year or two, I was not good. And I realized, like, okay, let me find this relationship. I trust this to me. And I realized it's okay to not do it with myself. Um, as far as social media, you are what you put up. I mean, it is what you put up. You have to take the time to work. It can affect you negatively if you work like and say well, negative things. Those negative words will impact you because you see that that's words are real. Um, now, if you find positive affirmations and other things, those will help as well. But social media is the environment that you create. It's what you create.
So when you asked this question, I was thinking, what can I say about touchdown? Without touchdown about everything. But yes, one thing I will say is people have mentioned therapy, but I'd also like to mention other ways of being. For a lot of the community, therapy isn't always an option for whatever the reason. Maybe they can't afford it, they don't have that coverage. So thinking of other ways to be mindful and keep yourself in check is always good. Some ways, someone had mentioned Jesus. I think about my grandma, how she would wake up early in the morning. She get her coffee, she goes straight to the Bible, taking 10, 20 minutes to pray, to read the Bible. And if that's not your thing, just taking 20 minutes to meditate. Think about, okay, I'm going to have a good day today. I'm going to go to my class. I'm going to ace that test. I'm going to talk to two people. That'll get your day started in a positive direction. If you have an moment, maybe go on a walk, go fishing. Or if you're feeling lonely, okay, I'll go to the mall and I'll walk around, get out the house. Being mindful, understanding where you are mentally, I think that goes a long way. Because like everyone was saying, social media plays a humongous role in the filter is off. There is no filter. People are seeing people driving Bugattis, wearing all these fancy clothes at 18, 19. You're like, wow, where's my Bugatti? Why am I not wearing fancy? You know? So I think understanding where you are plays a huge aspect.
Boy, y'all got me at the end. But as I was like sitting here listening to everything that everybody has said, I like that you said that it's okay not to be okay. And one thing that I noticed that I do is like I like to, oh, I can handle this on my own, or like I sit here and I just think. So now I'm in my head, right? And I need to channel that in a different way. So what I do is music. So that's how I get how I feel out, right? So the biggest thing with mental health, I would say, yes, it's on the parents for setting the example, letting us know that asking for help is okay, right? But it's also on you because you know when something's wrong, right? And who you surround yourself can also affect your mental health. If you're around people who are always sad, who are always down, and you're this joy like that God has created you to be, right? Their it's like their aura, right, can like unknowingly come onto you. So now you sad and it's like, this is not me, right? It's not you. Who you're surrounding yourself with, who you are with can also become like you can become them. So knowing who you are is the biggest thing first. And then surrounding people who are like-minded, who have the same aspirations, who love their family. Because if you're around people who don't have a similar goal in mind, then you're going to see, well, this is feeling off. So I would say your environment is the biggest thing. Who you surround yourself with, be mindful of that. Mindfulness is important. Knowing when something's wrong, going and asking for help. It's okay to ask for help. And then I think acknowledging when something is wrong, like it's okay not to be okay, right? And then it's like this healing journey, like you said, it's constant. Like it's never gonna stop, right? But what am I gonna do to be the best version of myself? So I think that's the biggest thing. And then social media, it made me think of like this conversation that I had in Bible study about Halloween. Did y'all dress up for Halloween? Anybody in you? Right. So there's this thing. A lot of people wear masks, right? So I think sometimes we're taught to mask how we feel. So it's like if you ask me, "Yo, are you good?" and it's like inside I'm dying, but I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." That's a mask, right? So on social media, that's what you have to realize. Like this, oh my, they might be driving a nice Bugatti, that might be nice clothes, right? But is this a facade? You don't know because you're not them, right? So what can you do to get you to where you want to be, where you're driving this nice car, where you're buying these nice things and wearing these nice clothes, right? And it's not all about that, but it's like you have to get yourself there. Nobody else can do that for you. And surrounding your people who are pushing you and who want you to be greater is going to be the biggest thing too, and also believing in yourself. So that's what I have to say.
Yeah, I got one question, and this is one thing. What about if people that got PTSD and they mental health is on that, and they got a lot of things they got to think about being outside, and they got to sit there and just like look around and look over their shoulders every day, every time. What y'all think about that? That's what I want to know.
Hello? For people, for that, I would say that one, to recognize that PTSD is a condition which requires a specific system which allows you to understand your triggers, put the right things in place. And so, what I'll say is this: putting the focus on what you can control and being more satisfied with your output versus the outcome is a major way to create a sense of stability in where you carry yourself. I know for me, a big part, a lot of nervousness and a lot of stress that I dealt with from working in my environment, especially starting out, was when I try to talk to people, what if they don't want to hear what I have to say? Or what if they throw whatever doesn't happen? What if they reject me? And I told myself, and I had this really, it's so simple, but at the same time, it's such at least for me, it's been a task just to stay in the alignment of, okay, what is your intention? Are you following, looking at myself as deeply as I can to say, am I being who I want to be right now? It's not about what everybody else is doing. That and being able to focus internally and say, did I output? Did I react the way I wanted to? No, not did I react, because reacting is almost reflexive. Did I respond the way I wanted to? Because respond is attached to responsibility. And that's understanding that it's not only to just act because somebody else acted. It's on me to understand my plight, understand my direction, understand my own struggle, and say, hey, if walking in the classroom, taking a deep breath, and just throwing a peace sign up with a few people is a win for me, don't beat myself up because I didn't go and be the most conversational person in the world. You did it right. You did what you needed to do. You showed up. You made the effort to respond to the world the way you wanted to. And I realized that just being at peace with that, focusing on your output versus the outcome, takes all the stress and the sense of this I need to control the way everybody sees me and the way everybody reacts to me. And that allows you to move more peacefully. And I realize that people sense that peace and they feel that peace when you hone it. So, you can't fix all of it at once, but you do one output at a time, one moment at a time. You do one, eat the pie, one bite at a time. So.
I'll add on a little bit to that as well, if I may. Is it just Checking with Gene back there, boss Gene, Dr. Blackman. You said something that was amazing though, knowing your triggers. Knowing your triggers and then knowing who you can trust with your triggers, but not avoiding them. How can I overcome these triggers, right? Because if that's something that's inside of me, then I need to figure out how I can work with who I am and how can I show up in a way that's going to not make me really overwhelm myself, right? Because when you're talking about post-traumatic, right, this is something that I like, I don't even know when it's going to happen. So it's definitely important to have your circle, of course, but have your circle understand how to handle you as well, being able to ask for help with this. What are the things that you can see? What are the things that you can smell? How can I get you back grounded? So that way we are overcoming together, right? And that you're not just avoiding your triggers, you're knowing now how to control your joystick when you are triggered. Okay?
In my freshman year of high school, I went through a lot of gang violence with my cousin, and they would like every day we used to go to school, and it's like always something. They always have to say something, and on social media, they always like want to put up this show like they were going to do something. And I think the one thing that got us out was him. He was making music, and I was making clothes, and we both just followed like religious, like just religious groups, and he converted to become a Muslim, and he found his way to Allah, and I found my way to Jesus Christ. And I think just reading the Bible or just reading anything you believe in and just knowing that you are protected even when you don't, that's what's gonna get you through life, even when like you always feel like you have to look over your shoulder. Just know that somebody's looking down on you.
I'm gonna make this really short. I'm not a poet, and I was just thinking about self-help here. So 4 little short things. Make time to create time to enjoy the special person that God has made you.
It's more of a statement than a question. Not sure what I made sure they understood that you're either influencing or being influenced. That's why I really have that. Because when you're up, we all have ups and downs. So when you're down, you need to make sure that your circle that you have around you has the same morals and beliefs that you have so that they can help. That they help and not veer too far to the left. Because if you have the wrong circle, then you are veering and you are free falling. You don't have the right people around you to catch you. And I'm appreciative that I know that they understood that and they tell their people. And so we really, it matters who you are around. That matters for your health, your physical. But I also want to say I have a lived experience that I had to hide it up the plan. So I couldn't afford a hotel. And I walked. And I didn't realize at the time what it was doing for me. But it did bless me, did heal me. So that when I was able to get a better plan and pay for a better plan with good co-payments to get to my therapist, But I do want to espouse though that the gentleman, it's not always if you can't get to or afford a therapist, that physical exercise, writing, there's so many other ways until you can get what you need. And we have to do our part. You gotta care about yourself and put yourself first, just like all you all actually mentioned. It is. You got to. You got to care about yourself and want to be better for somebody else.
Thank you all for sitting for this conversation. We've had a lot of great tips go around the board. We're going to go back to our How do you guys define success for yourself? And how does that benefit you all?
I define success.
Can you restate the question, please?
How do you define success for yourself, and how does that definition evolve?
That's good. Success for me is consistency. That's one thing that I see that I struggle with, but I know that I have people who believe in me, and most importantly, I believe in myself, right? So if I don't do the due diligence to practice like I'm supposed to, it doesn't matter how much they believe in me, I'm not going to get to where I want to go or be successful where I want to be successful because I'm stuck in this complacent life. Oh, I'm going to just procrastinate. But it's like I can't grow if I don't practice. And I'm a student here at North Carolina A&T, y'all, by the way, Aggie Frye. But I'm a music general major and my concentration is voice. And my grade is literally based on how well I am technical with this and all that, right? So one thing I find myself not doing is practicing, right? And where is that going to get me when these people are saying, oh, your voice is getting stronger and all this? Because you can only like do this for so long, right? And then it's going to catch up with you. But it's like, I have to, in my mind, like, well, I need to write this down because I can't be successful if I'm stuck in this place where, you know what I'm saying? So I think success for me is consistency. If I'm consistent, then I'll be able to get where I want to go.
So I feel like I've been on like I don't know what they call this, a quarter life crisis or something. But I feel like I'm really looking at myself to determine where I want to be in a certain amount of years. And I feel like when I was younger, I thought, okay, by the time I'm 30, I want to be buying land, I want to be on my own house and such and such. But now, as it's getting closer, I'm starting to think maybe that doesn't have to be the goal. What if me being consistent, and what if me trying my best and whatever my goals are is enough? What if, as long as I am living in my abundant, highest self, that's enough? Me trying my best every day, that's enough. I feel like that's being successful.
Agree with that. I was just thinking about that. I was younger, so yeah. When I was younger, I would think like, okay, by the time I'm 25, I want to be traveling. By the time I'm 29, it's not so much as about age and time stamps for me. It's more about the process. I get here, I get abundant, I get consistent. I'm pretty sure I'm going pretty good. When I think about where I want to be, I still have this goal of, okay, I want to be a psychologist. After that, I want to get a PhD. I want to be a psychiatrist. It's no longer about age, but I don't necessarily have a definition for success. I just know where I want to be and how to get there. I think that as far as the consistency of it, still working on it. I'm real big on procrastination. I'm real big on it, meaning I procrastinate. I just finish my things. So, I mean, it's a lifelong process as well as healing. Success isn't a final point. It's forever.
That's forever, girl. I love that. Yes, forever, ever. Okay, I feel like success is less extrinsic and more intrinsic because it's about how we feel about ourselves overall that really matters. I got to be okay with the person I am by the end of the day ends. Like when I go to sleep, I want to be okay with my decisions and how my attitude was that day. Also, I feel like the key to success is our GPA. I know GPA stands for Governing personal attitude. Okay, it's how we approach life. Our mindset is the key to success. If you move in a space of gratitude and you have the best attitude, you do what you need to do. Simply.
I feel that. I feel that. Just like a common theme that I'm hearing, and it's a central theme in mine as well, is that success is a frequency. It's a you got I'm sure some of y'all heard of the high vibration, low vibration, those popular quotes these days. But success is genuinely a frequency of, at least for me, it's making sure that I am who I say I am, making sure that uh, I can show up and be honest and be forthright in what it is my intentions are. Um, and in a general sense, for me, success is um, developing that sense of purpose and basking in the fact that you're living in it. There's no better, because you're in it. You're a part of the frequency. It's like almost like being in a zone almost. And to y'all points, consistency is such a challenging thing, but I say that consistency feels like magic for the procrastinator because it feels like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it. But you don't know how, with the simple tweaking of a routine or the simple asking asking those questions when you know, and a lot of times it's raw, it's tough. It's tough to sit there and say, why do I want to look at my phone right now? Do I even want to look at my phone right now? It's a part of the conditioning, and that's perfectly fine because you need this understanding to build resilience. You can tell somebody. I learned about resilience the other day, and it talked about how resilience is the ability to, you mostly find your resilience in your darker places. You find your resilience in the midst of your trials, in the deeper and darker places, and that's what allows you to be creative. That's why one thing I wanted to add to the social media piece was to be a producer rather than a consumer. And even in your life, being a producer rather than consumer all day long. And I know it sounds crazy, but in a sense, back when we're focused on the output versus the outcome, you are producing, you are creating, you are co-creating with the Most High to sit here and say, okay, if I'm acting as my highest self in this moment, what should I do? And enough times of choosing throughout the day, you'll feel that tug. You'll know, I did more than I would have did yesterday. I went a little bit harder than I did the day before. And it's being able to fall in love with those little wins and understanding what it means fully. And that is, I am living successfully.
So I think for me, defining success, when the brother down here in the end said consistency, um, it's funny. I started a personal journey about 7 years ago where I wanted to change physically, wanted to eat better, wanted to be better. Like what you were talking about in terms of working out. I got a trainer. And I told him, I said, listen, I'm not going to do this thing 100% all the time. I said, but here's what I would commit to doing. I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up every Tuesday and every Thursday and Saturday or Sunday. I'm going to be consistent in showing up. Can't always promise that I'm going to give you 100%, but I can promise you that I am going to show up. And so I made that commitment to be consistent and not knowing what was going to happen. And the outcome was I was able to make a lot of changes in myself. And so that was how I looked at success. Every morning when I drop my son off in school, I say, have a great day on purpose. I'm big on intention and being purposeful. And if I am successful
in my life is because I say, did I do this thing with intention? Not did it, you know, show up, or did it turn out the way I wanted it? That's sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. But I was on purpose with it. And so for me, that is a huge part of success is being intentional and being consistent. For me, let's see, success means that I stayed in control of my joystick. Success means that I chose to overcome today, right? And when I say overcome, I think about it from the space of I've chosen to take ownership today for my unintentional mistakes, right? And when you're taking ownership for unintentional mistakes, that means that I've chosen to be vulnerable today, okay? And when you're choosing to be vulnerable, right, that means that now I got to think about this experience that's out here and how I'm exposing myself to this experience. Then I think about the resources that I have. What about my friends who could call on, right? Because that means that I'm still at my level of success. When I think about overcoming and I think about that C, because successful is meaning committed to consistency, right? Being open-minded, being motivated and feeling empowered to be as successful as I can be. All of those things authentically because I'm IVG, right? And God blessed me with being this. So I think because I've learned how to control that joystick and I keep that little chant of you're going to overcome, that resonates as success to me.
Right. For me, success is committing myself to bring my best and my true and my whole self to the table every day. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to get there, but it's that commitment. When it comes to personal success, I don't really look at that kind of stuff. I got that from my parents. It's just kind of, God has a plan, and the plan's going to work out. But I really look at success more so in the impact and the outcome and the successes that I have for others. That is, in my professional life as a leader, not sitting back and settling that I'm the leader, so I should be treated as the leader. It was more so in who can I bring with me? And how can I bring them with me? What skills, what experiences, what exposures can I provide? Very same thing with city council. Again, in a leadership position. It's not about the pen, it's not about sitting at the dais, it's not about that at all. It's about what kinds of impact can I have in the community for the individuals. Won't always be successful in doing that, but my mindset is, what else can I do? What else can we do to make you successful? Again, when it comes to me, God has a plan. He'll take care of me. I feel my role is to take care of and see what I can do for others.
I kind of want to define my success by being myself and setting a good example for my family. Just like as life goes on, I just want to ask myself, like, am I being myself? Am I doing things that I would want my future kids to see? Or am I just like, just doing the things I love? And I feel like as long as I put those two factors in place, then I'll be, I'll just be a good person to my family and to myself.
Success for me is me showing up as my best self every single day. Another way I determine my success is looking back where I came from and seeing how far I've came. Every day I might not make it, every day I might not be great, but I see progress. As long as I see progress, as long as God gave me another chance and I wake up, I got a chance and a choice to be better than I was the day before. So I don't measure my success based off finances or materialistic things or even friendships and family. I base it
off of myself. When I look at myself in the mirror and what I see is successful to me. So when I look back and see where I came from, and I know the goals I set in place and intent I have for myself, and I apply myself to reach those goals and intents, I'm successful every single day. Most definitely.
Can I contribute to this conversation? So the word success is something that I think about a lot. My name is Karen Jackson. I am associate professor here at North Carolina A&T. And I'm also one of the community connectors. So just proud to be a part of this. And really, this does my heart good just to see all the young people thinking about our future, your future, even more so. So, Mr. Jeremiah Jett, thank you for all that you're doing to bring these. But as I was thinking about this, there's a book that I've been fascinated with for about 3 years. It's written by Dr. Sarah Lewis, who is a professor of African American Studies at Harvard. The book is called The Rise, Creativity, the Gifts of Failure, and the Search for Mastery. And so one of the quotes that she has from her book, I wanted to share with you all. She says, I cannot convince the folks that I mentor who are interested in success to protect their work. I can only convince the folks who are interested in mastery to protect their work because they see the longer game. Success is focusing on the arrival. Mastery is focusing on the reach.
And did you say the book was The Rise by Sarah Lewis?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I did have one more thing to add about success. We talked about procrastination and we talked about consistency, but we didn't really touch as much as I feel like we didn't really touch as much on how to get from one to the other. And it's self-discipline. You have to practice it. You don't just, it doesn't just come within you. You have to practice self-discipline. But you get there. And once you get there, you have to, it's a constant thing. But you eventually switch from, okay, I'll just put it off till tomorrow. Do it when you don't want to. Do it when you can't. And get it done. It's not a just do it scenario, like, okay, just do it. The thing is, like, I'll just do it tomorrow. Get it done when you don't want to. As far as the mystical, I do have one more thing I'd like to say. What tends to get me down in the dumps is expectation. And not only that, my attachment to that expectation, because I expect for things to go well. I expect for you to want to go somewhere with me, and then when you can't, I feel like, okay, well, maybe something's wrong, maybe I did something wrong, now I'm contemplating. It's okay to expect things to go one way. That's how set expectations. Don't get attached to that expectation.
I think it falls hand in hand with what you were just talking about, Adriana, about being able to have that self-discipline, y'all. When I said that success was because I didn't give my joystick away, that meant that I'm behind the joystick. I'm in control of me. The moment that, and people do that all the time. Well, look what you did that made me, we can't compare that. That discipline means that I won't do it because can't nobody make me but me. And the moment that I set my joystick down, that's when I'm giving too much people the freedom and too many people the power over me because I have relinquished the one thing, the only thing that I can control, and that is me, right? And it's cool to have expectations when you have expectations of yourself, right? Because expectations in the things that I can control means I can control me, I'm controlling, and I'm expecting this of me because I have the most control over it. Right? Keep your joystick.
Hey, I like something to say as well about the success part. And I do just want to say again that it is about the consistency. And it's about taking control. Because there's a lot of things that we want to do today. And it's really just about deciding how to get that done. Because if you look at success and how you look at success, it's not 100,000 miles away. The finish line is not over there. It's just a few feet.
And what can you do today to cross that line and push it further so you can reach the next day? And for me, today, it was about coming over here and it's going to support everyone here, especially my friends in life, and also speak up so I can contribute to the conversation today. And then while I go back home, how can I help out my mom and my siblings and make sure it's a good day today? And that's for me. And there's a lot of things that everyone else wants to do today. And the thing is, you just have to make sure you do that. And then once you start doing that, then look, you start taking control of your life. And then the next day, you make sure that you can do the same thing tomorrow and do everything that you want to do tomorrow. Now you're making that consistency, and now you're succeeding for yourself. Because success is the consistency of it. And that's all I'm going to say.
I kind of like what you said about that success thing. I think people make this long list of things to do and they kind of procrastinate because they get so overwhelmed with all the things they have to do. But as long as you just complete everything you need to complete in that day and you say, you know, I was successful today, then that's all you really need to do to be, you know, successful in the long run.
Hi, my name is Clarence Hicks, known as Hi, my name is Clarence Harris. I'm from High Point, High Point City of High Point. I'm a graduate from High Point University in sports management. I also have a master's in sports management, and I'm also probably 30, 40 years working with the youth. I coach football, basketball, anything that actually kept me aboard. I was fortunate enough, I was a foster child, but I was born in from a park called Washington Park. A lot of y'all guys around, y'all know that was one of the most famous parks around. So every day was an adventure. So all these discussions you guys are having, I had when we was young. We had people just like y'all that came out, spoke to us, led us, and always tried to be a positive influence in our life. But my question here today is, and I'm also, my nephew is Cecil Brockman. He's, I think, District 7, something. I do a lot of, okay, well, NC State, okay, well, he's my nephew, and I vote for him every time. I'll just say this one, Uncle nephew, he's a good nephew. He's probably one of the better kids I have saw, because his father died at an early age, so personally, I was his, more like his father than his uncle, more like his brother than his dad. But what I want to ask you guys up here, because I noticed a lady here, she said she was from A&T, is that correct?
Yeah.
Now, as my investigation with this political club, I noticed this guy, Mark Robson, which is a black Republican. And I also was at a place where one time I saw this in public. I didn't say anything, I was just listening to him. He was talking about Trump, or Trump values, his ways and all this. And I'm looking at someone saying, wait a minute, homeboy, that's not true. But I didn't say anything. Because I didn't finish out. Now, being from A&T, in historical at HPC school, what do we do, parents? This is for y'all. What do we do when we confront with a person that comes to our youth? They all, like you see now, they ask a question. They're confused. But then get a guy that comes up, fancy car, big house, money flashing, because you know, quote, we supposed to be the bling bling person. Very influential when it comes to money, bling bling, or fancy things. Designer clothes, you know, that's just what draws our kids. So I'm asking you, you got a guy like Mark Robinson and some more Republicans who come down here and come to our kids. What anybody up to know what we do or can do to stop this? Because actually, Robinson is a graduate from North Carolina A&T. And what I know about the Aggie, my ex-wife was a teacher in the Crosby building over here. I'm a council driver too, y'all. So let me say this. When I was sick and I came and I had my GPA dropped on 3.0, A&T takes pre-requisition classes. Now, that's not the Aggies I knew, because the Aggies that I went to school with here and took my pre-requisition classes was proud, was volunteering, was just super. So what can y'all say to the youth today that I'm going to people like Mark Robinson? Anybody want to take that question?
Can I respond first?
Oh yeah, you man. I just bring it to you, but
I know you were, but you drew me in. So and you talking about my place of employment. So I first want to say I think that it's a good question. I think there's multiple facets to the question.
I have observed Lieutenant Governor Robinson's behaviors. I would say that that is definitely not representative of the mission of this institution. So I just want to put that out there first, that we don't have, the institution doesn't have control over what happens or how people behave in society. And I would not, put in him in a category of the Aggie that we expect to enter and matriculate through this institution. So I just want to say, be clear about that. I think the other parts of your question are maybe more related to, what goes in and what comes out, right? We learned that. I know I learned that in church. Whatever you put in to your spirit and to your psyche, that's what ends up coming out of you. So, perhaps Lieutenant Governor Robinson's behaviors are more representative of other things that he's consumed. So I'll stop there and see what the panelists have to say.
I would also like to touch on that as well. It's very hard to, I want to say, judge an institution by a person. I think it's very hard for a whole group of people in a whole another group because of one outlier. There's always going to be outliers in every group. No matter if you go to Christians, you go to Buddhists, you go whatever you want to do, you're going to find an outlier in that group. So just because Mark Robinson attended AMT doesn't make all of AMT bad, or doesn't make all of the people at AMT like Mark Robinson. With Mark Robinson, I think one of the things that young people can do when they meet somebody like Mark Robinson, there's never a way you're going to be able to avoid someone like him in your whole life. You're going to run into them. You're going to run into people who have negative energy, who are going to come to you, who are going to push their negativity onto you. The best way you can avoid it and the best way you can deal with it is eat the meat, spit out the bone. Because even those people with negative intention, even those people with negative energy, have something that you can take away and apply to your life. Now, all of that they say, you ain't gonna do. All of that they say ain't gonna apply to you. Half the stuff they're gonna say is gonna be in your face and you like it doesn't matter to you. So what you can do as young people is sit there and be like, you said this, and this. But this part we said is actually helpful. This part that he said can be helpful to my life and be applied to my life. So I'll take that and the rest of it is out there.
Okay, so I've been wanting to contribute to this conversation for a long time, but I am not a panelist, and so I was trying to hold my peace over here. But to this question, it's really important because a lot of us just lack education about issues, and we don't know how to articulate our thoughts in a way that is influential to our community. And so, as a parent of Lavelle McMichael Jr., I believe it all goes back to parenting and how you raise your children and how you cultivate them from the time they come out, as this young lady said, by themselves, to be able to be the independent thinkers and be able to articulate what's happening. And so I feel like this all goes into the mental health conversation that when I was growing up, while mental health wasn't talked about, it was definitely managed much better than it is today because of parenting and because of how we had structure, whether we liked it or not, whether it was good or not. And we were able to manage our diagnosis that went undiagnosed because we didn't have choices. And so what we did as young people who didn't like the environments that we were raised in, we took all of the limits off and all of the choices off and said, you can just do whatever you want. And while that has some positive aspects to it, it has been a detriment to our community. And until we go back to strict parenting that's not abusive, but that is instructive and that cultivates, then we will not have a handle on mental health, which then cultivates us into this whole idea of bad politics. And it's so necessary that we go back to parenting and holding our young people accountable. Pick green or red. You might want to make a new color, that's fine. But right now you got to know the choice Because if not, the PTSD and all of the ADHD will take hold of you because you don't know how to make those choices. And so while I believe in a therapist every Thursday, while I don't even mind taking medication, I understand that the reason why I kept my sanity for as long as I've kept it is because I had strong parenting that whether I agree with it or not, it remained consistent. So finally, to the Mark Robinson point, it's necessary to understand that if our children don't know how to understand the issues and then articulate their resistance to those things, then society continues to feed us information, which then becomes believable because you don't have anything to counteract it with. And so it's important for us from the time our children are born, to make sure that we ingrain in them the importance of who they are, knowing what that looks like, and how to navigate through a systemically racist society that will oppress us at every chance it gets, and then cause us to be divided against each other when it's time for us to actually make the leaps and bounds to progress.
I did want to add to that, but he definitely took basically my main point. It all goes back to what your beliefs are and what your family instills in you. Because unfortunately, we cannot avoid Mark Robinsons. There's thousands of them in this country. It's unavoidable. But knowing what you stand for and planning for these things in advance, instilling in your children these things in advance, help out. That's all I was going to say. But he said it so beautifully. I can't really add. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. The good doctor said it extremely well. For me, I look at it just a little bit differently. Not different, just differently. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And not everybody in this room thinks alike. But it's important to know how you think. And so, in the words of Kendrick Lamar, sometimes you got to pop out and show them something. And when you have a different voice in the room, I don't want to censor that voice. Let that voice be heard, but also let it be understood and compared and contrasted to what I think or what we think or what somebody else thinks. And then be able to make a decision as to whether or not you want to go with that line of thought or you have your own line of thought. It's just important that in America that we not censor it. Because so many people have been censored in the past. Us, the Black community. So I wouldn't then turn around and try to censor somebody else. Instead, I want to try to understand them and try to make sense of what they're doing and say, if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense to me. And then even provide forums. I know that there was recently a forum on this very same campus that had that individual and also some other individuals talking about the issues, where the students and those who were attending could compare and contrast. The last thing you want to do is not have that ability to listen and learn. But also recognizing, I think someone said earlier about social media, that mindset is going to get to somebody some shape, form, or fashion by targeted media, by X, Y, or Z. I'd rather be out in the open and discussed than be secretly shared with somebody else and they wonder, because there's nothing to contrast it with, is this true? Is this right? Is this the correct thing? Absolutely not. I think we need to, they say that the light is the best disinfectant. The best disinfectant. Just put it out there. Let's talk about it. Talk about the pros and the cons. Then let's move with it.
Excellent. Excellent. I would like to jump in to tie the success piece into the question that my good sir had right here. And I love what you said as far as not trying to mute
the voices just because there's a difference of opinion or a difference of perspective. Difference of opinions are so natural that let's go back to success. So me understanding that differences are natural and that they're gonna be here. They're not going away anytime soon. How I tie that into success is what I heard everybody say in some way, form, or fashion when they were speaking about success is becoming who they really want to be. Knowing that you are consistently becoming who you want to be. And I think a big part of becoming who you want to be is bringing justice to your everyday struggle. Knowing that you're living in a way in which the way I'm living, although it might not solve or absolve that problem over there, with consistency, with time, with effort, I can consistently be at peace knowing that I'm putting out the change and the frequency and the vibration that I want to see in the world. And I'm not so focused on controlling and monitoring everybody else's voice, but like you said, giving our children something to compare. I realize when people just want to denigrate each other and tear each other down, it's just a shouting match of, you're stupid, no, you're stupid. Now we're 5 years old again in the classroom, just because we don't like each other. I respect people who can stand firm in their values and not lose self-control. Big part of understanding how decent or what kind of shape your mental health is in is, like, what happens to me when I hear somebody say something I don't like? Why do I feel so compelled to fight and claw? And 9 times out of 10, it's probably something that is lacking. That if you could, you probably pour your whole self into it. But we can only eat, like I said, the pie one bite at a time. But living in a way in which, let's just go back to the simple thing of physical health. Me choosing to be physically healthy does not just affect me. Me making that choice, it allows my family to see what I do, my kids to see what I do, the kids that I serve to see what I do, my coworkers to see what I do. And so in a lot of ways, I heard this amazing quote. It was from some historic figure, but it says, preach at all times, but speak only when necessary. Preach at all times, but speak only when necessary. And in that way, if I'm living my message every single day, I know I'm fighting a good fight. You don't gotta come up out my, sometimes you do, and you can make it a point to do it with the most love, with the most sternness, with the most open-minded view. So a kid can look at somebody and say, you know what, that guy's acting crazy. Something about this guy right here, the way he's standing confident and not being rattled by what the opposition might say, something about that I respect. And that to me is a sign of somebody who knows himself. That to me is a sign of a successful person. So I wanted to bring all that together by saying we control ourselves enough to put out what we really want to see in the world and live in that and bask in that joy, that love. That's a frequency that is. Now, I know negativity is easier to spread, but joy and love is so much more powerful. So if they can see us operating in a light, then, like you said, it'll encourage them to take that one more step to illuminate their darkness.
Can I add a thought to the question that the brother asked? When we're talking about, or when I think about Mark Robinson, Donald Trump, and people of that nature, they are wolves to me. I know that they're coming to destroy my community. It's the foxes that we have to be mindful of, the ones that come to our events, shake hands, take pictures, make deals with stakeholders, but vote on policies that hurt our community, or don't vote on policies that help our community. And we don't pay attention to that. We don't pay attention to how politicians have voted in the past when we're making a decision on who we're going to support. If we like them, we just support them. And we don't pay attention to what they're doing. So it's the foxes that we have to be mindful of. Pay attention to how they're voting. Pay attention to how they're willing and dealing with stakeholders, and if they're not convincing stakeholders to invest in your community. So that's my thought on that.
responses to the question. I would like to thank you all for sitting in with me for an hour and 30 minutes of our conversation, useful conversation. Can you all give yourself a round of applause? Can we give our amazing panelists an amazing round of applause? All had amazing things to add to the conversations, and I truly want to say thank you all for being a part of the grand finale's conversation. Thank you all for being here, and now we're going to break it up. We have one more final performance. He's going to come up and rap.
Wait, before we get there, though, we got to give this amazing young man, Jeremiah Jet. Please, God, give him the best round of applause. Congratulations. Stand up, season one. Number one. We want to thank him for coming out and thank the beautiful A&T State University for having us on their campus. Y'all, I got something that I've been working on. I've been working on this thing for a moment. I've been preparing myself. And y'all don't know how long I've been working on this rap. I've been preparing my vocals. I've been preparing my voice. I've been wanting everybody to know this is one of the best ones I got. I'm gonna let y'all get a taste of it. Y'all the first ones to get a taste of my own.
All right now.
All right? Let's see. I'm gonna go. Y'all, Greensboro needed to change, but every time I turn around, I'm the next president of the United States, or I'm gonna be the next city council member, might be the next mayor of Greensboro. I'm gonna take a change, take a stand on the ground, but never stopping, never putting my foot, never waking up. Every time I wake up every day, I take a chance and I hold it down, but I never look at everybody different. But all I look at is everybody needs to stand out here and voice their opinions, just like they did today out here and voicing the words of their mind. Every time you turn around, you look at the sky, but you need to look at your loved ones too, because no matter where we go, we're gonna be out there in the sky. Every time we go around, we're gonna see around. You're gonna see my peoples, just like who hosting is out here today, and I got this for you. Because every time I turn around, he's the best one in the city. He's the next city council member, and he's still gonna be on the city council every time I see him. So y'all, let's give him a round of applause too. Because he's the next city chancellor. That's why I say that. I got a bars for no matter what. And my best brother right here, who hosted the best event today, I want to give him the shout out and round up around the two. Because when he get on the next podcast, I'm going to be up here too. Y'all, that was my rap that I have been working on for a moment. I have been preparing myself. Because I'm about to be boys, and y'all going to see me in the show. Y'all going to see me out here. And I won. And I'm an advocate for the homeless community. And y'all, let me let y'all know something. The homeless community out here needs a lot of help. And I need everybody. Y'all can donate to the helping the cause for the homeless. My own organization, Beauty in the Streets, is coming soon to Greensboro. Just like California got it, Beauty to the Streets, I'm going to do Beauty in the Streets in Greensboro. And I'm bringing change to my city. So I need my city members and I need my city family to help me, to support me, to lead me in this next years. Because once I leave this city, I'm going to take it on, and I'm moving around the world to bring this beauty to the streets, beauty in the streets all around the world. And y'all going to see something coming. And I love y'all. And I want to thank to Mama. You got the best son ever.
Yay!
Hello. Good job, bro. So I want to take a moment to thank everyone for coming and being a part and supporting my son. I'm Crystal. I'm Jeremiah's mom. And he didn't know I did it, but we bought a cake to celebrate because we want to congratulate you for having an amazing season one. Celebrate some challenges in this process. And if y'all know me, I push him a lot. He always talks about being thrown under the bus. But this week, we faced a lot of challenges. My mom had a stroke, so please say a prayer for my mom. But Jeremiah wanted to quit. And every single day that he told me he was quitting, I said, what would Grandma say? And when he thought about that, he was like, the last thing Grandma said to me before she had the stroke is, I'm proud of you. And he kept going.
Yay.
I'm so proud. And people are watching, and so just keep doing, keep pushing, and we're gonna hold your arms up as long as you're going. And when you don't want to hold them up, we got you.
All right, well, we got food outside. You know me, I love to eat. We got food outside.
Let's go.
We got cupcakes. And I want to again thank you all for being a part, being in attendance from our grand finale. And love you all. You all have a great day.
We're gonna get some.